the focus in China still on those imported cases?
Very much on those imported cases. So, as you say, 31 new confirmed coronavirus cases confirmed by the Chinese government. 31 of those 31, 30 were imported. Now, that compares to the 27th, March the 27th, where you got about 54 imported cases. All of those confirmed cases, all of those were imported. So, yes, that is where the focus is. You've seen, of course, on the 28th, so Saturday here in China, you saw the borders effectively closed to foreigners after days of ramped up restrictions, for example, reducing the numbers of flights and pressuring Chinese students to stay where they are if they're studying abroad. And then on Saturday, as I say, borders effectively sealed to foreigners until we don't know when, as they try, officials here, to reduce the numbers of imported cases. In terms of what we're seeing more broadly here in China, you've seen that restrictions being eased, of course, in Hubei province. That actually led to some pretty significant unrest on the border between Hubei and Jiangxi. Towards the end of last week, over the weekend, clashes between Hubei residents who are trying to cross into Jiangxi province. That poses, again, questions about how successful officials will be at easing those restrictions and the concerns that remain here in China about whether or not this data and the numbers of infections is, in fact, transparent and that they can believe the data that they're getting out of the government. So that lack of trust continues. We saw President Xi Jinping make a visit to the port city of Ningbo, and that was a role or an emphasis by the Chinese leader there to suggest that the focus on restoring the economy here is now a #1 priority as they continue, of course, at the same time to try to ensure that there aren't further outbreaks here in China. They have, of course, conceded that there could be a second wave, but clearly getting the economy back on track remains a priority. And we heard from the Politburo saying that they may be, and very well will increase the deficit ratio here in China to allow officials to increase spending and stimulus to try and support some of the industries and put a floor under the economy. We're not likely to see, according to the economists, 2008, 2009 levels of stimulus, but the deficit will be raised according to the Politburo, and we're going to get that number at the National People's Congress if that takes place. April, potentially May, that's another date that we're looking for as well. But in terms of those cases and the rates of infections, it is still the focus on those imported cases, as you say.